In this short video, I want to talk to you about a system management panel that we have added to your Actifio appliances in release 7.1. Now, if you're familiar with the Actifio Resource Center, this is the static web page you get by just pointing your web browser at the IP address or fully qualified name of your Actifio appliance. You get this page come up, and this is where you go to get things like the Actifio connectors, the Actifio desktop, the SNMP MIB, and so on. Now, this is new. This was not here in any previous release. So in 7.1, if I select this link here, I will open up a system management panel. Now, I have to log in with a username and password, which is the same username and password I log in to administer my Actifio desktop. What I get is a system management panel, which currently has 5 panels in it. Now, what this lets you do is configure everything around networking. So for instance, if you want to know what DNS your Actifio appliances are currently using, or what NTP server, you can configure them here, change them, update them. Equally, if you don't have DNS, or you have objects that are not in your DNS, and this is not unusual, sometimes we see ESX servers, for instance, that aren't in DNS, I can go and add them to effectively, my etsy.host file, and this will configure them as such. So I add one here, you can see I've now got one, and I can go and modify it or delete it if I want to. So that's host resolution. Troubleshooting shows 4 specific tools that I can use to test connections. Ping is pretty obvious. Can I ping something? IP route get is also very useful because if I plug an IP address in here, I can see what route your Actifio appliance will take out of what interface, using what interface, to get to that IP address. The TCP connection test is also very neat. So if you have a firewall between you and the Actifio appliance, you can test to see if that firewall port has been opened. So this is a very handy test tool. Your outbound policies is all about networking. So if you have a requirement to add a static route, you can do so here. So which interface do you need to go out of? What network are you trying to get to? What mask and what gateway do you need to hit to get to that network? So you can configure all of your outbound policies for routing here. IPs and interfaces. This is where I configure the IP address of each interface. So if I have existing interfaces, I can configure their IPs. If I have new interfaces, for instance, I've gone to ESX and I've added a Ethernet port to my Sky, I can then go and hit the add button here and configure the IP address. Also, if you need to change the MTU, I can select that interface, go modify, and now I can plug in a new MTU. Finally, if I get back to that hostname and DNS page, you can see I've got that ability to set the DNS search suffix or change the DNS as I talked about at the start. All right, hopefully that's useful to you. Please go and check this panel out if you've upgraded to 7.1, and thanks for listening.